The Awakening of the Chosen. Hello, Chosen One. I'm Gabriel, and it's an honor to have you here on The Spiritual Secret. Let me tell you something. There are no coincidences. The fact that you're watching this right now means that something greater is trying to reach you. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover a powerful truth, something that could unlock a new chapter in your spiritual journey. But only those truly ready to listen until the end can grasp the full impact of this message. So, Chosen One, are you ready to take this step? Today we will consider the core of the spiritual calling, something that wakes profoundly within of us and invites us to a conscious waking. It's fascinating how, when we interact with this bigger force, which many define as destiny, we discover that being called to a higher mission has something magnificent and natural about it. This call is felt, experienced, lived, and merged into the heart of our being rather than just heard. It is virtually difficult not to feel challenged and honored at the same time when we consider this boundless and loving power choosing us. This power not only marks us as messengers of a mission, but also provides the knowledge required to properly and deliberately execute it. This spiritual awakening marks a change in our everyday life. He exhorts us to approach life deliberately, with awareness, and, above all, a great sense of significance rather than just drift through it. It's amazing how we are guided to see life as a journey with deliberate direction, rather than as a simply series of days and happenings. From this new center of knowledge, the invitation is to remake yourself, relearn, and change yourself. Every minute we live then becomes seen as a special chance to embrace our purpose. This phone call to pursue a road already before us reveals a subtle but strong urgency. The story teaches us that, if we are ready to perceive it, even in the darkness we discover the light almost in a poetic manner. We anticipate this guidance, which always exists, and represents not just a mentor, but also frequently the inner wisdom itself that only has to be acknowledged and embraced. The message here is clear. Every one of us has a certain purpose that calls for bravery, confidence, and the understanding that we are able to do what we have been meant for. This is a light but strong prod that helps us to get toward our actual path. This also suggests that we are surrounded by indications and instructions all the time, waiting for our acknowledgement and action. This insight helps us to let our life have fresh significance as we let it be directed. In the end, it is a dance between conscious action and confidence in the unknown, a lovely and essential surrender that links us straight to the pulse of the cosmos and our part within it. Everybody of us is a cherished of lovers selected to highlight our divine power and shine in this planet. Although this road is first frightening, it is important to keep in mind that fear is usually a mirror of the obstacles we build in our thoughts. Understanding the grandeur of what it means to be called helps us to grasp that it is just this grandeur that provides the will to overcome uncertainty and anxiety. Being selected offers internal security and a knowledge that we are not traveling this road by ourselves. We are always at our side, a guide pointing us in the right path to inspire us to walk each step with love and will. In the end, this encounter is really nourishing, a chance to relate with the core of life, love, and creation itself. We start to see our influence on the planet and people around us as we accept this fact. This calling is not one-dimensional. It reminds us that our decisions and actions have effects across time and space that beyond our own conception. We are thus urged to act from a position of love and in line with our greatest purpose, to provide light where there is darkness, and to foster compassion when discouragement is present. What intrigues me is how, via this vocation, we come to see life as a field of ongoing education in which every experience, no matter how difficult, carries a critical lesson. From this point of view, challenges become stages and problems become patient and smart instructors. Acceptance of our part in the cosmos emerges in middle of this metamorphosis. We start to see ourselves as active players in a cosmic dance in which every one of us has a unique and vital part in the larger symphony of existence. Living in line with this calling helps us to develop not just a strong feeling of belonging, but also a great respect of everything that is. Realizing that the task we have been given is not a burden, but rather a gift, we open room for the expression of our best potential when we trust the process and the revealed road. A gift that continuously urges us to investigate, grow, and above all, love. From this point of love, we can really grasp the profundity of the message of being the beloved of lovers, and how. Have you ever stopped to wonder why, despite all your achievements, it feels like something essential is still missing? My name is Gabriel, and I've helped countless people like you discover the true spiritual power that resides within them. And today, I want to help you. If you feel like life is passing by while something important remains out of place, maybe it's time for an awakening. My audiobook, The Path of the Chosen, was created precisely for those who have reached this point. In this audiobook, I guide you to feel that enthusiasm for living in alignment with what truly matters, knowing that every step has meaning. Together, we'll transform your fears, traumas, and frustrations into powerful strengths that propel you to a new level of growth. Leave behind the feeling of spiritual isolation and find the peace of a true, constant connection with a greater energy that has always been by your side. Instead of fighting against what you feel, you'll learn to find purpose, serenity, and self-discovery to fill your inner world. This could be the beginning of a fuller, more meaningful life. I've seen it happen for so many others, and now it's your turn. Don't let this opportunity slip by. Click on the link pinned in the first comment and begin this journey with The Path of the Chosen. This is your chance to fill what's missing and finally live the life you deserve. I'll be waiting for you there. Important it is to follow this calling not only for ourselves, but for all of mankind. This chapter offers us an invitation strong and transforming. Embrace the fact of being selected. It's fascinating to see how this acceptance calls for total surrender free from doubt or second thought. It's about realizing and appreciating the holy link we have with the divine, something that distinguishes us and links us to a higher power able to lead us toward our life goal. This link is said to be a singular experience that goes beyond convention and provides us with a whole fresh viewpoint on ourselves and our capabilities. This close link with the supernatural is not just a result of destiny, but also a force capable of upsetting accepted rules that sometimes put us in a condition of complacency. We start to see, as we absorb this concept, that this holy love is not happy with anything less than the total truth of our being. Through a journey of self-discovery, this reality is exposed and forces us to see behind the false security we have created throughout our lifetime. The story is like a wild storm, a strong metaphor that helps us to welcome the complexity and intensity of living really. Like a storm, this road is full with obstacles that test our certainties and force us to confront and conquer our worries so that we may really develop. This inner development cannot occur without work or suffering. Actually, it calls on us to go outside our comfort zone and confront the most buried aspects of our spirit. This transforming love is a real force of nature that forbids any middle ground and demands of us to be truthful to our core. This is a basic and important reason for our life, which helps us to realize that living really is not just a decision, but also a need of this heavenly connection. Accepting this fact helps us to respect not just our own potential, but also our capacity to love and be loved totally. This catalytic awakening to which we are called creates the path for a life more fully and meaningfully lived. Aligning ourselves with this divine love helps us to be change agents in our own life and finally, in the surroundings. What distinguishes the transforming power of divine love is our call to live our truth individually and spiritually. Like a mirror, it reflects not only who we are but also what we may become when we really embrace our position as selected ones. This chapter is beautiful in that it pushes us to be courageous enough to embrace this reality and live by it daily as a great statement of love and thankfulness. This call to complete acceptance demonstrates great wisdom. First, we must accept our individuality if we want to really influence the world and ourselves. This originality links us to something so large and ethereal that it wakes us from our current perspective of life. The call to action is unambiguous and challenges us to go beyond our sometimes imposed constraints. Accepting the fact of our being chosen helps us to remove these limitations and provide space for the divine to shape every part of our life. Though complicated, this process helps us to appreciate the beauty of what it is to be human, with all its imperfections, doubts, and also endless possibilities. One finds it interesting to consider love as a chaotic storm. It conjures pictures of change, motion, and disclosure. Divine love removes the dams of doubt and fear, thereby cleansing our soul as the storm does of the ground. This self-understanding process calls for us to address our most personal concerns with bravery. He exhorts us to welcome vulnerability as the road towards emancipation and self-awareness. Although it is not a simple road, it is definitely fulfilling, as it helps us to find the most pure essence inside of us. Living in line with this reality helps us to get in touch with the cosmic forces. Adopting this reality and living really also helps us to demolish the false crutches we have created over years. These are armaments we believe will shield us, but they really keep us from really living. Accepting the truth about our identity and the task assigned helps us to find direction and clarity. We start to live in a manner that connects with global harmony, therefore generating a wave of good effect that reaches others around us and beyond our own life. This awakening helps us to rethink our priorities, to really appreciate what is essential, and to live deliberately in every moment. Giving up to this love, a love that asks that we be nothing less than real, has unquestionably great beauty. Accepting our reality turns out to be more than just a personal revelation. It's a necessary first step in influencing the society permanently. This helps us to contribute to a more mindful and compassionate society, in which every action, no matter how little it seems, echoes in the life of other people. Opening ourselves to this road lets our hearts open to a more loving, connecting, and rich experience. Thus, we may conclude that we have really done our part as chosen ones, respecting the divine gift that is life. The metaphor of love as a lighthouse offers a rich and symbolic picture that really connects with the human need for direction and purpose in the anarchy of life. Even when the tides of doubt and difficulty threaten to propel us into the future, this lighthouse, which stands for actual love, is relentless in presence and power. The light it radiates not only leads us down the road ahead, but also penetrates the darkness within us, exposing facets of our own souls we may have suppressed or neglected. This is a strong reality that challenges us to embrace the great metamorphosis that such love might spark, and to look within with honesty and bravery. Knowing that this power of love does not fade in the face of difficulty makes one very inspired. It is a love that endures and supports us. It is a strong guide reminding us of our basic selves and what we are capable of reaching. This stability provides a required grounding in a society that sometimes swings between uncertainty so that we may live truly and boldly. The story helps us to cope with the inevitable responses of others to the light of this great love in a kind and understanding manner. Appreciating this love is obvious, as it embodies what all hearts yearn for: honesty and depth. Still, some people may respond with jealousy or opposition when faced with the brightness of this light. These emotions mirror more the inner fears of those who show them than any weakness in ourselves. This knowledge helps us to keep shining despite criticism and releases us from the need to earn outside acceptance. Bearing this love is, without a doubt, a brave deed, a movement against mediocrity and complacency. One takes on a role as agent of change, someone invited to not only alter their own life, but also motivate others to follow suit. Even with rules and criticism, shining in our own light is a radical and essential deed. It invites people around to doubt their own pathways and reality, therefore challenging the still seas of uniformity. Living this goal not only brings inner change, but also makes us shining lights for others, revealing possibilities that may have stayed in darkness. Being selected for this mission of love presents us the chance and obligation to be real, to express ourselves from a position of truth, and to leave a legacy on the planet. This chapter reminds us that our presence may light the pathways of many and motivates us to really embrace our responsibility as light carriers. By doing this, we help to create a society where love, bravery, and truth take front stage above everything else. We are always pushed to become greater versions of ourselves on this road of accepting love as a lighthouse. This love is not passive. It gently pushes us outside our comfort zones, where real human development is suppressed and progress stalls. We find that when we commit to this light, it highlights our own darkness and forces us to face and combine aspects of ourselves we had ignored. This enhanced self-awareness is what finally makes us really strong in our endeavor to be shining examples for others. Fascinatingly, the sheer act of shining may cause pain as well as inspiration for others around us. This light sometimes unavoidably questions your own sense of what is real and feasible. Many people feel driven to confront their own doubts and problems in the midst of such insight. This may be a difficult or even painful process for them. Still, we provide a safe place for others to finally turn to their own inner light by firmly embracing our truth and love. We thereby create a real and transforming ripple effect. Although it is not easy to assume this major position as transformational agents, that is what we do when we welcome the lighthouse of love in our life. Knowing that our actions, big or small, have the ability to motivate significant change, we accept the obligation to be guides and sources of illumination. Accepting this duty helps us to become entire and live in a manner that not only represents our inner awareness, but also might significantly and favorably affect other people. Living in line with these facts helps us to gift ourselves a life more in line with our core beliefs and goal. Every decision turns into a deliberate act improving our presence and direction on the planet. Every deed we do when it is imbued with love and light sets off a transforming tsunami that permeates the individuals we come across. This call to be lighthouses becomes natural in our life, not just a part-time job we do. We discover on this spiritual path that our brilliance is not something to conceal or downplay. We realize that we are helping to create a more harmonic and intentional world when we really embrace the light of love. Our genuineness inspires others to similarly live their truth, therefore fostering a more conscious and linked society. When we live as beacons of truth, we leave an immense legacy, a world in which love, truth, and bravery are not just goals to pursue but everyday reality to be experienced. Being a chosen one brings with it a distinct depth that speaks not only on a personal, but also on the global collective of mankind. Knowing this objective helps one to realize that even if their passion causes discomfort around them, love and truth are beacons that should not be concealed. It is a call to live courageously, a living model encouraging others to see and value their own excellence. Those who choose to live totally have the ability to question the current quo and encourage introspection and contemplation in those who come across this light. Here, love becomes a transforming agent that transcends accepted or typical boundaries to start a self-discovery chain reaction. Choosing implies assuming the duty of turning into a mirror reflecting uncharted opportunities. Life turns into a quiet sermon in which every deed and choice sends messages in and of itself, therefore expressing truths frequently missed by words. Your responses are normal for those near to you who are still riding their waves of uncertainty and discovery. Yet the goal of those selected is proceed, overcoming any opposition with elegance and courage. We are supposed to be determinedly navigating our route, not called upon to calm the seas for others. Every stride on this road really develops the personal path, as this trip is as much an inside dance as an exterior one. Individual metamorphosis reflects group metamorphosis, therefore generating an endless cycle of development and insight. Fundamental is tenacity in the truth. This persistence invites others to likewise awaken to their authenticity constantly. Living the mission of being selected in the face of outside opposition is not only a challenge, but also becomes the gasoline for our purpose. Then resistance becomes a natural component of development. one that tests our ability to stay anchored in the light and truths we find. Living in line with this love and truth is a radical deed that results in real change, not just in each other, but also in everyone we come into contact with. Every moment spent in line with this goal helps others to see the power of love and truth in their own life, therefore transforming the everyday into the spectacular. Accepting this task releases us from the need for outside approval and grounds us in an unquestionably internal source of power. This is rather freeing. Being chosen means ultimately living in a manner that reflects the indisputable power of love and truth with every step we take, transcending obstacles and rooted in the endless possibility to bring about change within and around us. The road of choosing is definitely one of bravery. We encounter not just our own soul's reflection, but also the responses of the surroundings. We live in a continuous balance between realizing that not everyone is ready to absorb that light and shining brilliantly. Real courage is keeping our light on, even if the darkness appears to try to engulf us in uncertainty and inquiries. By pledging to this cause, we come to appreciate the quiet of deeds. That is, when every action speaks louder than any words could. Every decision and attitude we make becomes a living monument, a quiet roadmap for others who see and are searching for their own road forward. This quiet communication has great influence and echoes beyond words to touch the heart of the souls crossing our path. Accepting this responsibility completely helps us to realize that change is unavoidable. It occurs within of us and forces us to be always developing. This personal development enables us to inspire those around us to pursue their own truth and honesty, therefore having a lasting effect on them. We need not talk because our own presence emanates the love and truth we want to live. Resistance and difficulty provide us a great reservoir of strength. Far from dragging us down, this outside barrier becomes a tool for forging us, straightening our path and restating our dedication to our higher good. Our faith is tested and reinforced in this fire, which also helps us to see chances for development and expansion among challenges. To be a chosen one is to acknowledge and welcome our limitless path of self-realization and inquiry. We share our lights with the world more the more we merge into the collective with each deliberate and loving stride. This close relationship with goal goes beyond the personal and changes the surroundings, so reciprocity is always present in our life. The real power of our decision shows not only in our own development, but also in how we motivate others to be all they can be. Living this love and truth reveals freedom that helps us to acquire the knowledge to lead by example. A quiet, strong leadership that does not prescribe courses, but rather highlights ones. Our dedication plants unusual blossoms that lead to a world where truth and love drive everything. Although the work is difficult, its influence is almost impossible to measure. Knowing that with every heart we touch, the mission stays alive, an endless dance of love and truth, always moving, always developing, we embrace our light and continue the trip. Resilience against hardship urges us to turn times of opposition into chances to enhance our being and our mission. Choosing to live in an honest and real manner always means that we will eventually run into outside influences that appear to be trying to veer us off course. Still, the wisdom here is to consider these obstacles as invitations to personal emancipation rather than as insurmountable obstacles. This resistance shows itself as a mirror reflecting not our shortcomings, but rather how much our light may disrupt and so inspire in others' contemplation. The lighthouse analogy reminds us of the need of maintaining our illumination, even if outside storms seem to be threatening to darken us. For those who assume the position of selected, staying brilliant is a required act of bravery. When we let ourselves shine brilliantly, we embrace the fact that while some others can feel challenged or even uncomfortable, it is exactly this disruption that stimulates inward discovery and development. Realizing that jealousy and criticism are expressions of the inner conflicts of people who still search their own light helps us to liberate ourselves from outside expectations that sometimes try to control us. Accepting our responsibility as change agents lets us live really knowing that this is the road that speaks to the best of our soul. When we decide to follow our truth and love, we encourage those close by to challenge their own comfort levels. This call to reflection becomes an act of holding light in the middle of any form of darkness, therefore motivating people not to fear their own methods of discovery and acceptance. This dedication to authenticity has a transforming influence that transcends our own life and affects everyone who interacts with it by means of a wave of spiritual progress. Living really means that every contact becomes a chance for inspiration and challenge rather than a means of control by mere presence. This real presence motivates the ongoing dance of evolution, a dance without a goal, but rather an unbounded path of waking and development. Understanding resilience as a tool for self-knowledge and development helps us to realize that overcoming difficulty is only normal. Every difficulty turns into a lesson, and in every lesson we have chance to strengthen our relationship with our basic nature. Living the job of a lighthouse means, par excellence, recognizing that our goal is not just to light our own road, but also to provide a glimpse of that same road to everyone who cross ours. In depth in this chapter, The Gift of Self-Discovery, we are invited to start a personal and transforming journey. Though difficult it may seem, this responsibility offers a great chance to embrace the essence of what it is to be human, to grow and evolve as we light the path for the next wave of spiritual seekers. This story helps us to go beyond appearances and motivate us to find the inner world of the selected one. The essential concept here is that constant self-discovery is what starts one to live really. First and foremost, this is a trip into the depths of one's own soul. It is not just a call to illuminate the road for others. The chosen one discovers untold immensity while exploring these uncharted territories, a call to interact with the most profound realities of one's own life. Silence and introspection help one to strike equilibrium between the shadows and brightness that define our nature. The trip outlined emphasizes the requirement of us becoming our own lighthouses before we can illuminate the road of others. This lighthouse we are supposed to shine within helps us to sort out the complexity and paradoxes of our own life. Deeper and more significant personal harmony comes from this process. The insight that self-discovery is a lifetime gift, something we are always revealing, defines the depth of this chapter. This process is a dynamic experience of progress and learning rather than a set goal. Every difficulty we face and every issue we come across along the road presents a chance for personal development and expansion toward our actual calling. Seeking knowledge within oneself helps the chosen one to modify their life to fit their inner purpose and clearly express their mission. This internal harmony not only changes the selected one's own life, but also ripples outside, motivating everyone around to travel their own paths of self-discovery and acceptance. Once inner peace and knowledge are attained, they naturally start to influence and encourage others to do the same. The global message this chapter presents is one of resonance and connectivity, accepting that everyone holds shadows and brightness inside. Themselves brings basic beauty in this path of self-discovery. Living really requires one to realize this duality. Examining the uncharted areas of our brain and illuminating fresh ideas helps us to better know the real ourselves. The capacity to completely embrace yourself, foster self-love and compassion, both for yourself and others, is the real gift of this road trip. The chapter reminds us that our inner trip is not solitary. The internal conflicts and victories of the chosen one find resonance in those close by. It is like a stone dropped into a lake producing ripples across the surface. Every human quest for self-truth might motivate others to delve within themselves and toward their own truths. Personal development therefore becomes group, encouraging more real and significant interactions with the surroundings. Self-discovery helps one to realize that vulnerability is not weakness. On the other hand, it is in vulnerability that we discover the actual will to develop and flourish. A basic component of spiritual development is letting oneself open to the future. Let yourself make errors and grow from them. That molds and changes us in a continuous dance between assurance and doubt, brightness and darkness. This chapter offers a gift not just in self-discovery, but also in the invitation to a life of honesty and purpose. He exhorts us to live completely, every day conscious of our potential and our constraints, and to welcome every new difficulty as an opportunity to grow personally. Every day we are sculptors of our own destiny, deliberately with practice crafting the clay of our life. First within ourselves, and then in whatever we do, this is how we leave our imprint on the planet. Fundamentally, this process is the spiritual secret we share with people traveling this amazing trip of life with us. Deeper into this chapter, the dance of love and connection, we are asked to investigate the depth of human nature and its unquestionably great relevance on the spiritual path every one of us is on. By now in the story, we are reminded of the energy human relationships provide for the mission in life of the selected one. Seeing love and relationships as dynamic dances suggests seeing each connection as a movement in a cosmic ballet, in which every step offers a special chance for learning and personal development. This dance shows that there are no casual contacts, as it has a rhythm that challenges and makes us joyful. Actually, every contact reflects back sections of our own inner truths and has great value. The chapter's goal is for the selected one to see not just the self he portrays, but also the self fashioned by these reflected events, as if every connection were a mirror room. This helps us to appreciate the transforming and reflecting quality of human relationships. The story helps us to see that these contacts are significant encounters that permit difficulties that develop and pleasures that so warm the spirit, not just coincidences. The selected one is thus advised to intentionally and with open spirit develop these relationships, seeing each new interaction as a two-way road where learning and teaching coexist. Love is shown as a natural force spanning time and place that transcends basic love or transitory interest. Those ready to dance together and share their actual essences are connected by this strong tie. We come to see here that these relationships may change the fabric of our common life, as well as each of our separate selves. When sincere and developed, love becomes an energy that lies and rises everyone engaged, therefore providing a safe environment for the manifestation of the real self. This not only enhances the spiritual road of the selected one, but also influences everyone around, therefore fostering an ongoing self-discovery process. Accepting and nourishing these important connections is an act of self-pity and self-discovery, as much as a loving deed toward others. Investing in these relationships helps the selected to build bridges favoring the shared experience of spiritual development, in which every participant is a conductor in ongoing learning. This kind of view helps us to see that human relationships and spiritual development are not separate processes. They feed one another, enabling love to create a clear road that echoes over the world. When utilized properly, these relationships create a chain of love in many different forms that we sometimes cannot even be aware of. Basically, this dance of love is an ongoing process of intuition and expression in which real engagement and mutual support produce harmony. The selected one starts a virtuous cycle that not only increases his own being, but also disseminates a love that inspires and changes when he responds to the loving call of connecting with others. This story asks us to gently see that every human connection presents a chance to highlight the path to others and ourselves. It reminds us constantly that we do not go alone. With the touch of love and understanding they reflect, we are forever entwined in a web of connections that shapes the inner and exterior reality of every one of us and drives us to a continual dance of discovery and connection. This is the gift presented in the chapter, a dance that, when nourished by love and truth, becomes an everlasting statement of our own spiritual path.